All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Business Blueprints. This is episode 19, and this week we have Jon Masuga, and his primary day-to-day is real estate agent, but we are going to talk about how it transitions into construction. Jon, why don't you introduce us what your company name is and what you kind of do?
Yeah, thanks, Bryan. So my name's Jon, obviously, and I'm been a real estate agent for about 14 years now. I work now at Angle & Volkers. It's a small boutique brokerage. Located out of the city. Never really liked the big brokers. They never really did anything for me. This is more my speed. And you know, it's in the last 5 years, I've really kind of put more of a focus on the renovations, construction end of things because you know, Pittsburgh being the old city that it is. It's going to always need it. Yep. And even if, you know, just for my realtor clients, you know, it's good to have that perspective. But I've been doing it since I was in college, had a kid early, so forced right into work at the age of 21. But grew up in North Allegheny, always been in the North Hills, so it's something that I've just always done.
Like it. So, I mean, it's cool to see. I mean, I'm also the same way. First off, this is our brokerage. I'm in a boutique brokerage. Mm-hmm. I liked more of that vibe. Yeah. I like the personal aspect touch to it. And also, it's again, like, I believe in the jockey, you know, the person who's running this. That's why I got behind it from the very beginning. It's very hands-on. It's very, you know, there's someone there to help you when you need assistance. You're not just one of like 7,000. Yeah. You know, that type of deal. But it's cool, man. You know, transitioning into construction is an amazing thing, and that's what I do primarily with my day-to-day as well. So what is your company name, and what are you kind of, you know, what's the forecast? What are you guys working on now? What are you specializing in? And, you know, we'll dive into that a little bit.
Yeah, so it's still town home improvement. It's basically a combination of, myself and two other partners. We have construction crews that we've used over the years on our rental properties with our investors and with our clients. I've myself done a couple bigger renovations, and basically, you know, as you know, finding good guys are hard to find, guys that are trustworthy. But we have a good rhythm with them, and we can build a business behind them. But what we're doing is focusing mostly on your typical projects that are always needed: roofing, siding, windows. We do kitchens, we do flooring. Like we're finishing a basement for a new construction house. You know, that's things that are in need constantly that you can create a business around, because we started doing these renovations, and it is hard to continue that as a business. It's fun. People do like it, but it's hard to cash flow that from our own end. So this is more of a way that we can keep our guys busy, keep our guys sharp.
And back to your reference, you were just referencing like flipping. Yeah. Correct? Okay. Yeah. So that's always the thing. And let's just stop there for a second. This is an extremely valid point. And I just want to touch base with a lot of people with this, because flipping became a very sexy thing around the 13, 14 era, really started blowing up. And that's how me and you kind of first met, in a mastermind program. And yeah, I mean, that's the nail on the head. I mean, I did the same thing, right? So when we got into construction, I was doing flips, and I had to work a job because that was my cash flow. So then I started looking at it, and I'm like, well, how am I ever going to like fully transition into this, you know? And again, I went and worked for a large real estate company in Pittsburgh, and I seen it on scale then. And I was like, oh, wait a minute here. I'm like, they have all these guys. They have like 25 in-house guys. They have like, you know, overhead, workman's comp, insurance, office, front office, back office. And I'm like, but you don't make any money off these flips, like per draw, you know? So I'm like, how does this like work? And I'm like, okay, so it's based upon a system that you would have to do volume. And then I'm like, well, okay, but if you're making, let's just say it's $35,000, and that's even net, and you might get that in 5 months, you got to do a lot of that.
Right.
So then I was like, all right, well, what else goes into flipping? I'm like, well, there's marketing, there's acquisition, there's deposition, there's all these things, there's, you know, that you have to fire up to get the marketing side going. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe I'll just go to remodeling.
Yeah.
And that was my light, you know, my kind of, you know, light bulb for that as well, is like, I'm like, well, if I'm going to grow one business, I need something to cash flow while I'm growing the big business.
Right.
So that was kind of your preface. You've seen firsthand kind of the limitations of flipping.
Yeah. absolutely.
And then
Yeah.
started filling in the gaps.
Exactly. Yeah. When you're flipping, flipping is like a dirty term anymore because there's so many cheap flips that have happened over those years. And
It's gotten way worse.
yeah. Well, as things get more expensive, everything gets squeezed. People don't want to lose their shirt, and a lot of them are doing their first couple. The guys that do it well, do it well.
And they're doing it in an inflated market. And I shouldn't say an inflated market. I should say this is just kind of the new market. Yeah. But when we were flipping houses, even in Lawrenceville and Highland Park and East Liberty, it was like you're buying for $150, you're putting $200 into it, you're selling for $500.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Those are the numbers. And Lawrenceville was the same thing. 100, 150 in, 450, 500. Not $1 million. Exactly. Or not purchasing at 500,
and the expectations that come with
the cost of entry has gotten very expensive as far as the home sale prices.
Yeah. Not to mention allocating, finding the house,
that was always me. I never wanted to fire up the marketing again.
I was the acquisitions guy for a long time,
and I did acquisitions for Urban Capital and when they were doing it, and I learned a lot. And it was the same thing. I'm like, I don't want to go through all this.
No, man, it's a lot, but it's also even now the current age of the sheriff-owned properties downtown. I watched like a hawk for the last year. This last year, 75% of the homes got bought back by the bank.
100%.
So these banks are bringing homes to auction, letting it bid up, bidding the final one, and just washing their properties and getting it back in their inventory at a new note. Yeah, basically. But it's
because they're able to see where the market's at.
Sure. Well, they want to own property.
Yeah, for sure.
And so does everybody else. But you take that out, and all those investors are going to try to go find other things. So it's super competitive to find properties. And these properties are going to be in various conditions. Like you said before, it's almost impossible to plan a organized business around remodeling and flipping because everything is a one-off. Everything is different as you get into it. And I'm sure you're probably the same way. I've never done a lipstick flip where it's just kitchen and flooring and trim. You can make it look pretty. But I knew right from the beginning that would be a short road to a dead end. I'd rather do 5 properties in a year and do them right than 10 and do them wrong. And I think that's where a lot of people get turned off by even having, a flip property. You have to kind of look at it with open eyes and really see how they did it. And unfortunately, you really can't. You can't really tell how they did it. So a lot of with Steeltown, what I think it could turn into is we have guys that we can trust. That's not the hardest thing to find, but we can bring the real estate guidance to it as well, to where, if you're looking at this house and you want to, invest and do this kitchen and do that, well, you might want to also make sure the mechanicals are correct. You can't do this before we do the roof. And then also, how does it also fit in that market? Are you over-investing? Are you under-investing? To have basically the guidance of not just the guys to do it, but the guidance of how it makes sense and how long you're going to be in the house. Is this a 5-year thing? Is this a forever thing? Everything changes when you can really kind of dive in with the client on the why of why are we doing this. A lot of houses that you're going to just find on the market right now that have everything you want, they're going to be at the top dollar, or they're going to go before you can even get to it. And, we're right around the corner of a whole different market where it could be right back to, you don't have a month to decide. Like right now, it's pretty nice for buyers. It's definitely coming. It's coming. It's just because there's no inventory. Yeah. Once a new slew of buyers come in with a different interest rate, or the buyers that have been on the sidelines just waiting for the right time, and the sellers as well, it's going to happen.
I think the government fucked us, man. The government fucked us in the sense of there's going to be a lot more people on the sidelines selling, and they should be, as opposed to buying. Mm-hmm. The buyers are, and we're seeing this a little bit too in new home construction as well. Yeah. And I've tried to educate, and our clients are seeing it because here's the real facts about real estate is interest rates don't matter as much as people think. Right. You get stuck on this fixated number that's like crypto that moves every single year or every single day. What you will never hedge is inflation. So we have a guy who's like, I think I want to wait till spring to build. And we're like, hey, listen, man, that's cool. But just so you're aware, January 1st comes all of our price increases from every vendor that comes our way. And he's like, yeah, man, you know, my fireplace company said the same thing because he's providing like this very special fireplace unit he wants himself. So the fireplace company said, hey, hold on. Well, listen, spring's awesome, but we can't guarantee this price. There's going to be probably 11% markup, you know.
Right.
So, okay, well, you have a 4 to 11% markup on every single item that goes in that house. That could be 50, 60 grand. Like, that could make you wait. But you're only waiting because of interest rates? But you were interested when it was 6.2. Now it's 6.45. You're not interested? I'm like, that's a $180 swing here. I'm like, so.
Which is, again, the whole, you can refinance, obviously. You just can't, get back a missed opportunity.
No, because here's the thing. Every client that I built for during COVID who took the risk, and it may not have went as smoothly as they would now, but they made a couple $100,000 in equity.
Oh, yeah.
And the people that built after spent the couple $100,000.
Yeah. When I was at Heartland Homes selling, I'd have guys that would come in every year. You know, they'd be coming back, and they were waiting for something.
Yeah, buy the first house in the community, get the discount.
And, you can't really trust every sales guy you meet. I mean, you're just meeting me for the first time. This is what I'd say every time. Listen, we're just meeting.
Yeah.
You can take everything I say with a grain of salt, but I'm going to be telling you the truth because I don't have a reason to lie to you.
Mm-hmm.
If I lie to you and we get into a contract, you're going to find out eventually.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm. So this is the God honest truth. Is this? Nothing's going to be perfect either.
No.
Like, you have to set expectations. Nothing is perfect in real estate. But you got to make your best choices given what you have on the table.
Yeah, I mean, there's no perfect time and there's no perfect thing. Now, what I can tell you is I'm going to build you the house you exactly want. Now, will you like the price in 6 months? I don't know. Probably not, because, listen, that's the thing is if your vendor's telling you they can't hold a price and every single one of ours is telling you the same thing, why would you expect us to hold a price from October to March?
Yeah.
We can't do that. Right. I mean, it's unrealistic. And
right.
I agree with you. I mean, there's definitely a shift because there's going to be, okay, what are we missing also in the market? We have the largest population of older people. Well, those older people now are advised by financial advisors. Well, I personally work out in a gym with plenty of financial advisors, and they're telling their clients this. Hey, Sally, I understand that your house is too big for you, but here's the thing. You have a 3% interest rate or your house is paid off. And here's the thing, Sally, you move out of this house, you're going to pay double for something smaller. And you're going to put your equity into something that is probably, we don't know how it's going to be worth down the road.
Right.
Unsure.
A lot of these houses, I mean, it would make more sense to retrofit them to be for the next stage of your life rather than move out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the thing is there's not one answer. There's not one clear-cut answer for everybody. You have to, if you're going to be in real estate, if you're going to be a realtor, if you're going to be in construction, you have to be able to provide the full plate of options to some degree.
And let's reference back to what the business model that you're trying to hedge. So that is you're trying to incorporate your expertise as a realtor and then connecting the dots with homeowners on how to mold their lifestyle into the next phase.
Yeah.
Okay.
Up north, and
that's your primary market is North.
Yeah, what I've learned over the past couple of years is to not try to spread myself everywhere. And
it's a big market.
North Hills is where I am. Yeah. That's where I've grown up. Yeah. I know it like the back of my hand.
It's the market you get.
So that's the market I'm going to work in. You
gotcha.
know, but what that market looks like right now is you've got craftsmen, carpenters that are either they're done or they're booked out for the rest of their career, or they only do 5 projects a year. So to find a trusted contractor is damn near impossible. And when that average house price now is $400,000, $500,000 in the North Hills, and things are getting well above $1 million. Like I was saying, like there's $3 million homes selling now. Not to say that you're ever going to renovate a house to that level. Those new custom homes are insane. Mm-hmm. But what does that mean for the houses in between the $3 million and the $1 million, the $2 million houses? So what does a 1.7 house look like? No one really knows. Mm-hmm. But everyone that is looking for it wants what they think it's going to be. Sure. They want the value. So, as like Infinity, Infinity is like the leading edge for the North, where if it's last year it was like 1.2. Now the average is like 1.5. Now it's going to 1.7. They're really not selling anything in Allegheny County right now. It's all in Butler County. So it's just like...
Yeah, they have a little bit in Washington. They're down a little bit in the Peters area where we are, and they're mostly up north.
Yeah. And then you got Heartland Homes taking a step back in price. They're selling Ryan products, honestly, And they, coming from Heartland and Ryan, they build on the best pieces of land. But also, there's a finite amount of land. A lot of the $1 million custom homes are being built right off the turnpike. So it comes down to, I think the future is going to be, what do you do with all these houses that are now 30 years old? They're going to be 40 years old. Once they go and turn around 50, I mean, it goes from remodeling to renovate. And
full gut.
Yeah. And if we can be in a position where we've been doing this for a long time, as unpredictable as it is, there's going to be a need for it.
Yeah.
There has to be a need for it. Now, is that going to be my 100% focus? Maybe not. I'd like to go into new construction, quite frankly, but it's something where you can't just jump into that. You got to start somewhere. But I do believe there's going to be value in the ability to look at these houses in these beautiful neighborhoods. Like North Park Villa is there right now. Right by North Park, they are 60 to 70-year-old homes. They are mansions. And you cannot build those houses brick for brick for anything more than $1.5 million. Who knows how much? Honestly, you would know better than I would, but like...
Yeah, I mean, if you're anything in the 3,200 plus square foot,
these are
four-sided heart. Yeah,
these are 9,000 square foot. They're insane. So what is
a couple million?
What is the option for this? There's one right now in Chardonnay that's been sitting at $950 for the last year and a half. The house is insane, but it needs everything, and I mean everything. And there's a little bit of foundational work, but I mean, as things progress and as things get more expensive in locations that aren't as prime as North Park Villa, the opportunity is there. Yeah. But it just comes down to, now that's the extreme example. There's going to be houses that are going to be historically, $500,000, $600,000 that the homeowners haven't moved for the exact same reason we just talked about.
You're talking like Truesdale.
Yeah, sure. There's little subsection neighborhoods in Wexford that are just in prime locations. You just cannot find these, and they still have half-acre lots just because that's what they built on.
Yeah, sure.
And all the vegetation's grown in, and even people coming from out of town, they can visualize that easier. But it's not going to have the layout of the modern age because everything is always changing. The city is a perfect example. Those houses, those skinny row houses. They would never build them like that again, obviously. They want more of a width. They want more of an open concept.
Yeah, 20-foot wide stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy. Some of the width on some of these houses, but they're still going to be there. So what do you do with them? You just have to kind of, anticipate that there's going to be a shift in terms of these houses are going to need to be worked on. To what level is always going to be different. But that's why I took the leap from Heartland Homes, where I was selling, honestly, making good money. I had a great lifestyle. I joined a country club, and I knew exactly when to fuck off and when not to. And I have a family. I have a 13-year-old and 11-year-old, and that's my most important thing. Like they're going to be out of the house in like 7 years. I'll turn it on then for sure. Yeah. But until then, I'm family oriented. Yeah, good. You know what I mean? So like I'm never the person to overextend myself. Yeah. This right now is what makes sense, but I do believe that there's going to be more to it as it goes down the road. But it can't just be sales. You can't just be a realtor in today's day and age without more experience in construction or more experience in just different avenues that you can bring the whole plate, the whole picture to these clients. Yeah. Otherwise, I mean, in a time where, commission is much more transparent, as it should be, you either got to accept less or you got to provide more. You can't just be one of those realtors that says, I want 3%. I know you found your home on Zillow, but that's what I'm going to, or this house is going to sell really well, 3%, please. Yeah. I don't believe in that. When I left Heartland, I started a brokerage that I've since closed down, but the idea was I want to be able to control everything. And I did a 1% listing fee for a while that fell absolutely flat. And the reason it fell flat is nobody trusted that I could do a good job at 1%. And I lost, I got a lot of good appointments because I have good connections in the North Hills. Yeah. And they're all, $700,000, $800,000, $900,000 houses. I wasn't getting a lot of them. And it wasn't from lack of experience. They really did not trust that 1%.
That's what I was saying, which is wild because, like, you know, when you look at a referral lead, I mean, your conversion rate is just so much fucking higher. It's unbelievable. It's and it almost, you know, what's wild is it almost is like, because that's the big bitch, is everyone who's like selling a $2 million property is like, I gotta give up 55 grand, you know, but you're out here like, hey, I had 1%, dude.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? Like,
but then they're like, oh, well, why? You know, it's like, well,
right.
because it makes sense. Because if you look at the closing cost sheet, your biggest number by times 5 is the commission. And I'm not one to say that all realtors aren't worth what they're paid, but certain ones aren't.
Sure.
You know, certain ones are.
It's just like construction. You know, there's ones, you know, and people say the barrier to entry on real estate is low. I will combat that. The barrier to entry is not as low as people think, because that test and the work you have to put into it is not that. It's not easy.
Right.
It's not.
Right.
Now, the barrier to construction in PA is fucking light. $50, no test, check to attorney generals, you are a fucking contractor. You can build a house.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That is a that is a low entry barrier job. Yeah. That's comical.
Yeah.
Like, at least in real estate, you had to pass a test that most of the time people won't even put the effort to even do.
Yeah. Right.
So I'll give it that. Right. But I agree with you. I mean, you know, it's like any other thing. A couple bad apples ruins it for the whole bunch.
Yeah.
You know,
I think there's just the overall industry of being a realtor, and why I hate those big brokerages is that they're not set up for the client. They're not set up for the consumer or even the agent.
No.
You know, they want a big roster of clients. The top 7 are what really moves the company. The rest of them kind of just keep them floating and everything.
The admin fees and shit.
Right.
Yep.
But you're not really getting any advantage from going with Coldwell, Howard Hanna, or anything else. You got to find the person, the agent that's locked in, that can provide you with what you want. Mm-hmm. And I really just feel like in an area like Pittsburgh, you can't really be a real estate person without a construction background, without some sort of way.
It's making it harder and harder.
Yeah.
Just because of it's the age, man. I agree with you. I mean, you know, when you're talking about a 1900s home compared to a 2024 home, the mechanics don't work anymore. I mean, you're talking about HVAC chases that are the size of a tennis ball. You know, that's just a big one. You're talking about, you know, real knob and tube wiring. You're talking about, you know, real metal, copper, very small water lines. Like, we use 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches now. Like, dude, you can get as many rain heads as you want. Like, you know, you can't do that. And I mean, I live in a 1970s house. You still can't do that. You know what I mean? Like, that's just the reality to it. I mean, I see there's a need and a service for everybody. And so do you think that what you're trying to hedge is there's, instead of just a person calling a random remodeling company to fix their kitchen, you're kind of taking it a little step further and saying, hey, you know, I offer, you know, this, and this. I can, you know, give you a layout of what underinvesting looks like and what money you're leaving on the table. I can give you a breakdown of what overinvesting looks like and what money you're putting, you know.
Imagine you have a contractor out to bid a job, or you have a realtor to come out to give you a CMA of your house. Yeah. It's a combination of both.
Sure.
And it's basically a non-push.
Do you fear that, I mean, interrupt you, do you fear that trust factor is going to come back in?
What do you mean?
Of like, they're like, oh, he's just a realtor. Like, I don't really know if I trust him with construction.
It very well could be.
Yeah.
And that's I think at the end of the day, what I'm trying to hedge against is just being
I'm just bringing that up. It's
of course.
You know.
Yeah, no, I think it comes down to if it's coming from my realtor lead, I can bring in the construction end of things. If it's a construction lead, I can bring in the realtor end of things to that. Yeah. But I think it all works together.
Because I'm gonna say my 2 cents with this, and it's probably not gonna be welcomed by everybody. In construction, exterior construction is fucking easy. Mm-hmm. It's easy. All of you guys that do exterior construction, I'm sorry, it's not that hard. Interior construction, belly of the beast. Yeah. Like, this is one-on-one. 100%. Like, people are going to sit there at their kitchen table and watch you all day long while you work on their bathroom. So it's just a different. So that was my thing is with your crews, and you mentioned you had 3 pretty good crews.
3 solid crews.
Are they well diversified?
Yes.
Like, do they do your interior and exterior, or are they kind of one's exterior, two's interior, or what's the kind of mix?
So my one main crew, AK1 Construction, they do everything, but they're my interior crew because I have the most experience with them. They did Lennox, they did 421 Lennox out in Richland. We did 105 Foxwood out in Wexford, and they know how to do everything without someone like myself explaining how to do everything. They're not going to come back to me and be, hey, we're short on 3 outlets. We didn't pull this permit. Like, they have the full scope of how this needs to be done. Mm-hmm. They're Ukrainian guys. Mm-hmm. They're just mechanics by trade. We've worked with them for, now I think 4 or 5 years. They did train at NVR, and then they moved on from that, which is, where we try to almost like recruit our minor league contractors or those type of people where they are trained.
It's the greatest training in the world.
Best training
NVR has it nailed.
Oh, absolutely.
NVR has the best training.
I'm never one to shit on anybody because it's so hard to do this. Yeah. But like NVR's training, sales down, everything is top notch, top level. So these guys come out, but they're not making what they could make. Mm-hmm. Possibly, which is, they know that.
You're not going to make there's a give and take, right? Just like you said, like you're a lead source.
Yep.
That's what Ryan Homes is.
Exactly.
They're a lead source that you're never going to run out of work for the rest of your life.
Exactly.
Now, that's going to come at a pay cut.
Right.
And you got to be okay with that.
Right.
Right.
So. Absolutely. But I think so take it back to your original question. I have one crew that kind of does everything, but they're definitely my interior crew.
Gotcha. Cool.
The other 2, same thing, but they are primarily doing our exterior stuff. And we are getting a lot of volume from the exterior stuff. Mm-hmm. And it is easy. And that's kind of why we made this the way it is, because I don't think everybody really knows that. No. Like anyone not in construction, to look at a house that has, wood siding, you want to put on vinyl or you want to put on hardy plank.
Great.
It's not just putting it over the wood siding. Yeah. But they also, it's also not as complicated as they think.
You're going to strip it down. You're going to take a day to strip it down, and you're going to put it back up.
And a lot of people are confused as to why it takes a day. I'm like, that's because it's not hard.
It's not hard.
Not difficult.
Yeah, that's like the thing whenever, and again, I'm not shitting on any contractors. It is, you brought up a key point, is the explosion of exterior contractors in the last 5 years is unfucking believable. And again, it's kind of the same model of like, hey, we have these guys, we're going to do this. I mean, the roofers are the big thing, the siding, the windows, the exteriors, they all run subs and they all do the same stuff. Listen, great business model. Planet Roof guys on last episode. Guys are great, man. I mean, they're making their shift too. They're getting out of the insurance world, going to full retail just because that lane's closing down a little bit. And, they're going in some other different areas. Interior construction, man, is the nitty gritty of it, dude.
That's where
the meat and potatoes.
That's where a lot of my, not expertise, but a lot of my ability of talking to homeowners, prefacing everything comes into play. I'm not necessarily putting my 2 cents on the construction end of things, but I'm taking it from my guys, I'm bringing it back to the homeowner, and I'm making our promises and our guarantees and basically laying out the scope of work and kind of communicating it in a way that they need to understand. Where a lot of our guys are not interested in doing that, which is fine. One of our crews really doesn't speak that well of English, but they are some of the greatest guys you can ever imagine. They work hard. Yep. Mm-hmm. And that's really kind of where the workforce is heading. You don't...
No. In 5 years, it's going to be fully there.
Yeah. Like I'm thinking of learning Spanish. I think it would make sense. Yeah. Because these guys are so loyal to people that treat them well. Mm-hmm. And I can get behind that 100%. I want to treat people that I work with well. I don't want people to hate working with me.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing too, man, because like, you'll have other companies out here that are like, oh, our Amish workers. Like, bro, they're not a person at a zoo.
Yeah.
Like, they're a human being.
Right.
Come find our Amish workers. Like, yeah, we have that too, but like you're putting it out there like there's some rare breed of human. Like, they're a human,
Exactly.
And they're not all perfect.
Exactly.
I assure you.
Yeah.
You get what you pay for in all levels of construction.
Yeah.
I assure you.
And honestly, doing what we're doing with Steel Town is kind of the answer to not finding as much properties as we have in the past. We want to keep these guys busy.
That's the advantage to you, is you're trying to limit your exposure on the acquisition.
Well, yeah, honestly, we're trying to keep our guys. Yeah. We've had them for so long, but if we can't find properties that we're working on as much, and even our rental portfolio, it's not necessarily more of finding more right now. We're actually selling off some right now. So it's more or less like we don't want to lose our guys that we've built great, goodwill with over the years. This is a way that we can keep them working. It's actually an easier way for us to make money, but everybody wins in the same way. And really, in the North Hills, you should see some of the quotes that these people are getting for decks. It's fucking ridiculous.
I'm sure.
You're talking like $120,000 decks that we'll do for 60, and we're making money. We're not shooting ourselves in the foot by doing it. They just drive up to these houses, and this is, again, from being at Heartland. I would talk to 5 people a day. Maybe none of them would buy that day, but I would still get their whole life story. Sure. I'd get all their shit and everything like that. And what their biggest fear was renovating their house cheaply and over-investing and being stuck there, or buying a house that is too expensive, is not what they've come from. But at the end of the day, it's just fear. It's fear of the unknown. And they're getting quotes that don't make sense to them because they haven't redone their kitchen.
And they're all over the place.
They'll get 3 quotes, exactly right. They'll get 3 quotes. You don't trust the lowest one. Yep. You certainly don't trust the highest one. But what does that mean? The middle one's the best? Well, they didn't. The guy showed up in a wife beater. Like, do I trust that guy? Like, perception is unfortunately a big part of the construction end of things. So, like, my end of like just coming there and being not well spoken, but just being honest and being able to back it up with years of experience, that does go a long way for the people that I run into. Sure. But at the end of the day, it's just there's not many people to choose from that do good work anymore. And if they are, they're busy. So we keep our 3 crews busy. As a secondary thing, I'm always looking for new crews. I think that's kind of the next part of our business, is to create our 4th one and our 5th one. But our focus is to feed our three crews because we have the hard work done with them. We have the trust built with them. We know exactly how they work. We have our numbers really good now at this point, and they're all stable. Like even our one crew, AK1 Construction, we got them we found them a house up in Grove City. Before that, they were kind of scattered everywhere. They were renting for a couple years. Now they're in one place. They've got all their, it's basically a compound up there, and they're happy as shit. But that allows them to get to their maximum potential. Yeah. And, at the end of the day, if they want to go off and do something else, they can. But that's why we got to build that next crew up, But I think all the crews that we have, they are local-based. They are, they're pretty well set in. They're family people, too. And it's something where we can continue to grow from there. Now, where we go from there, we could pivot. We could pivot into new construction. I mean, I think, like I said, what you're doing and your path is kind of where I would like to go. Because it makes the most sense. And if you want to do remodeling, you can do remodeling. I know it's, like you said, it's very, very difficult.
Yeah, it's its own animal. Again, there's nothing wrong with multifaceted businesses. There's not. Now, I think what a lot of people get their heads so fucked up anymore is they're like, well, I need 7 different streams of income. I'm like, you're so fucking wrong. You need one thing that makes you a lot of money, and then you spread out into 6 others. Yeah. That's the way it goes.
And that was,
and again, I mean, for us, we were in a weird position in remodeling where our overhead was too high, and we have a great market share in Peters. Like we're in an A-class neighborhoods. We've done hundreds of remodeling projects in Peters. I mean, we are deadlocked into that market. It was, it's a tough decision to say that you're shifting gears and getting out of remodeling. But again, when you look at it from the management costs, you're also brand cost of like, if you're not perfect every single time, your brand can get hurt. And here's the thing, for us, it's like nobody can decipher whether it was remodeling's fault or it was new construction's fault. It's Hemlock Homes' fault. So as a business, we're like, all right, and we loved all of our guys. We loved the in-house guys. Like that was a very tough decision to, eliminate that whole thing. And, and we offered jobs at other businesses. Some of them took them, some of them didn't. And, some went on to do their own thing. It's just, again, it was a cash flow. It was a cash flow tool. And now it's like, for us, it's what were we really designed to do? When we originally started the business in 2018, and we were talking about it in 16, and we were talking about it in 17, it never had remodeling. It always was new construction. Yep. And we started building specs, and we started doing that. And then we realized that, oh shit, just like anything else, like, yeah, these homes are like flips as a spec, because you're not making money per draw. And I'm like, okay, well, another light bulb. Well, we got to shift gears here. Like, spec building's not for us. Custom home building is now for us, because now we can make money per draw, right? So let's just say, your house is $1 million and, you make $30,000 per draw, and whatever the numbers are. At least I know that most of my draws are per month, and I'm going to get paid once a month per build. And if I have 12 builds going at one time, that's 12 paychecks in a month. So, and there's 7 phases per build. So I'm like, all right, so 12 times 7. I'm like, oh, we get paid 70 sometimes off that each house. I'm like, that ain't bad. Yeah, right. That was the game, right? So, and again, it was not that remodeling didn't make money. It did. It was just, it absorbed a lot of our time and attention. And for a company like ours, it was like, okay, you have the operations manager who almost runs everything at the office. She's doing 15% of this. You have our office admin who does marketing plus all the phone calls. She's doing 15% of this, 20% of this, 12% of this, 7% of this. Our selections coordinators, 50% of this, 50% of this. Our project managers, some of them are strictly new construction. Some of them are remodeling and new construction. Like, nobody's rowing in the same direction. So you're a little bit split-minded everywhere in the sense of that. Now, again, there's a great void in construction with home remodeling, because there's a lot of people that don't do what the fuck they say they're going to do. Yeah. Like, if you answer the phone and you go on an appointment, you're better than 80%. Yeah. That's wild.
That's where it kind of started.
Wild. And again, even when you get there, even if it's a referral, people are still worried about getting fucking screwed. Yep. Because it happens every single day. Yep. And that was like the biggest thing for us in remodeling was like, I can't even tell you how many jobs we come back and ripped out a bathroom that somebody did. Oh, yeah. And screwed them, the neighbor, the other neighbor, this neighbor. Yeah. And you're talking about people who are in their 70s and they've saved for 40 years for that bathroom. Right. It's gone.
Right.
It's crazy, man.
It's something where, my thing is establishing trust up front, which I'm sure you did as well when you guys did that. That's the only way you can really combat that, but you're still going to run into those issues.
It's establishing trust and knowing that your product is fire. Yeah. Like that's it, like
I know how good our guys are.
Yeah.
That's why I would ever venture into this, especially being so really new to construction. And learning every day and everything. Yeah. I don't need to be the professional.
So what would you say, though, that from a business standpoint is your weakest link right now?
Marketing.
I don't think that's your weakest link. I think you're saying that because you don't like it. From an operational standpoint, right. Like, let's just say, is it contracts? Is it your scope of works? Is it your selections? Is it your contract between your subs and you? Is it contract between you and your customer? Like, who's outlining what goes where? This is pig. This is this. This is this. This is that. This is that.
It'd be me at this point.
Okay.
I'm the client interface.
Gotcha. So do you help with selections? You help with the whole 9 yards?
Yeah.
And you're doing that through like your trusted vendors. I'm assuming you're taking them to like, let's say, a ProSource, your kitchen
Liberty
people.
Supply.
Yeah.
So. Trinity's a good one. I think that's a big thing too. Is a lot of these people, they don't know where to start. A lot of it is kind of just guiding them through. This is the type of product that Infinity's putting in their secondary bathrooms. You don't have to go that much further. If again, the goal at the beginning of this conversation was that you're moving in 2 years. Don't put the custom stone in there. You're staying forever. Do whatever the fuck you want. Make it your house. The market will never. You'll never know what your market's going to be like by the time you're there. So just enjoy it.
It's a great point. I mean, I see people do it all the time. They'll be like, well, this is our forever home, but we don't want to overinvest. I'm like, then that's not your forever home.
Right.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, if you have,
forever home, not invest. Like
exactly.
I have a lot. I mean, just same as you. I mean, I own a good bit of real estate as well, and I have one house that I'm going to keep until I fucking die.
Yeah.
And I do whatever I want. Yeah. I'm way over invested in it.
Yeah.
Care less. I love it.
Yep.
It's my greatest thing I have.
Yeah. Which one is that?
The river house.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
I'm way over invested.
Yeah.
Care less.
Yeah.
It's my favorite possession of life.
And you won't
never
lose on it overall.
Ever.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what I tell people. It's like the funny thing about real estate is the cheapest time and the best time you buy real estate is when you buy it.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
So I would say from a marketing standpoint for you, it's just more or less like, and this is me, I'm the lowest believer of VAs. I do not like VAs. I've tried VAs numerous times in construction. We have too much going on. You have to know what is going on in construction to I can't manage you from the Philippines. I'm sorry. Yeah. Like I have zero, listen, you're great for American Express. You're not great for me. And that was from a marketing standpoint. I tried it from an admin standpoint. It didn't work out. I've tried it in numerous different ways. CAD didn't work. In-house person, you could get somebody who's younger than you, do it way better than you, and probably pay a fraction.
Right.
That's the best you can do,
right.
in that regard.
Right.
Like I said, we got lucky when we hired our administrator, who's 22. She went to school for marketing.
Yeah.
So it was like a double bonus, right? But so her marketing plus she went for accounting piggybacks her well, right? So she does our ARs, APs. So when we write out her position outline agreement, it states she signs a couple position outline agreements. She signs the marketing manager role. Mm-hmm. She signs ARAPs, and then she's an executive assistant to a lot of the stuff that I do. So that means that she knows her clear responsibilities are not just one role, but multiple roles. Yeah. But her goals are to move up in the company based upon financing, which is great, right? So the short-term win with her in the marketing is she's in charge of it, and she runs it anymore. I don't. Mm-hmm. And she's also working towards, becoming a lot better. She handles all the numbers in our company,
right.
Budgeting and putting all the line items in correctly and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it's just really, I didn't really put a real marketing budget together until this year.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Really?
We did $1.5 million. We did $1.7 million this year thus far. And we roughly the years prior, the key years were about $1.2 million to $1.5 million was where we were at. And I never did large scale projects. Our largest scale project, maybe 235, maybe.
Yeah.
I was always very cautious of that because a remodeling projects like this, it's high five in day one, and then in the end, everyone's giving each other the finger and can't wait to get out. Yeah. Now, let me touch base upon what we're trying to do. Are you trying to do it prior to the client moving in?
No.
Okay. So that's what I wasn't sure of. Are you trying to facilitate the sale and then facilitate the construction, then facilitate the move-in?
It all depends. And we're really not. We will do renovations, but that's, I think, the end goal.
Okay.
And I think we have a lot of other systems that need to go into place, but we have the ability to do it.
Okay.
It probably would not make us much money. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I love doing it. I think it's the coolest thing. I think it's one of the best needs for the area. But our focus now are pretty much the one and done jobs that are in need.
They want to do the whole house, ready to go.
Yeah. But the one and done jobs, siding, windows.
Oh yeah,
roof.
that's your cash flow.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you look at it from a business standpoint, that's the easiest, best way to make money and serve the client in a time where there's not much of that around.
Yep.
Ideally, we get into, we nail down our systems, our processes, and build to the point where we could do more. Mm-hmm. And we can go into these houses that need it and take a multifaceted approach and really do it not just one at a time. We could do them right now. But to do more than 3 might take all of our crews out from doing all the other jobs. So we're really doing, the biggest job we'd probably want to do right now is a finished basement.
Gotcha.
And we do have one going on right now, but it's out of a new construction house. It's very simple.
Yeah, but
it's cleared out.
Those are the only ones that I want.
Right. And I already have established trust. I sold the house to this client.
Yeah, but you already have the pieces that are there. So here's the thing. poured walled foundations most of the time in the new construction houses. They're not going to leak really. You know what I mean? You're hedging against that. The rough ends are already there. It's easy to do. Like everything's kind of already prepped. And typically they'll have a blueprint, so you can really put a real clear cut like process and like actual thing into place.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, I you know, again, it's the reason why we kind of moved towards a little bit of some of this was, again, like, you know, we just did a big finished basement. I think the total on it was like $265 in Peters. I mean, it was very high end finishes, Murphy doors, like, you know, just 12-foot ceilings in the basement. I mean, everything was blown out. It was in a original Heartland home, which they added on to, and then they've remodeled this thing to like bananas.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but again, it you know, the level and scope of difficulty, and it took 3.5 months 4 months almost for the Murphy doors to come in. They were stuck in Panama in the canal going through like customs for 3 months.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of challenges that come with that really custom world.
Yeah.
You know, again, and I think we might have made $90,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
It took us 5 months.
Yeah.
I'm like, we built a home, which takes us way less management.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Honestly, the need to market is not really for the local buyers. Like we just have such good connections and referrals. But there, as you probably know, there's so many people pouring
So that's what
in.
I was going to get into next is, what is your client avatar?
It's basically someone that already owns a house, looking for a new one, and kind of deciding in between. Because that is the most...
But you were also talking about people transitioning from out of state. Is that your ideal client avatar?
It's everybody's ideal client right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll take anybody from out of town because their expectations for Pittsburgh and what they're looking for, and usually their budget, all match up to make it a very easy process. The tough situation that is like a need to fill in this area, or the people that have a home that are deciding whether they want to move or not. Yeah. That is where I feel like there's just gonna be so many people looking for that
because this is what I've seen
at all ages.
People focus on dumb shit. Mm-hmm. Like,
and the contractors aren't going to tell you. The guys that are coming out that are doing the work and could benefit from it are not going to tell you to not do that.
Sure.
But I will if it doesn't make sense for your house.
Gotcha.
Because I don't get paid from just one thing, and that's where I believe like. Leaving Heartland, like I don't have anything against Heartland. It was a great job. I was appreciative of that job every day. But I was pigeon-toeing myself into one way to help a client. And I was referring, to other people, but I wasn't making money off of referrals or anything like that. But like this kind of allows me to kind of take a look at the full needs of a client over the course of however long they need the help for, and really kind of give them the guidance that they would need. And I think that's going to end up being a constant need of people that have bought, even if they bought a couple years ago, they might be still looking to move. People are moving much more transient than ever. But absolutely, coming from out of town.
But it's circumstantial transient, right? Mm-hmm. Like it's really only circumstance.
The people that I run into,
again, if I'm wrong, please tell me. I'd love to learn.
My sphere seems to be people that do what they want when they want.
Awesome. That's the new attitude.
I know, and it's crazy because I'm not really that type of person. Myself, I'm a Pittsburgh boy myself, but it doesn't cease to amaze me how much money people can have in certain situations, and what their wants are when they have those opportunities. And when there's no inventory and there's no choices, it almost like it gets them crazy. It gets them more and more interested in getting what they want.
It is weird, right?
They've hit a level in their life where they have adult money, and they want to live that life now. And whether it's from the social media age that we're in right now, again, where I can't really connect with that type of person, like I can't really relate to them, but I'm
which is wild, is because you're old. How old?
36.
Yeah, dude, we're the same age.
Yeah,
like
it's just it's one of those things where the need is there. I wouldn't have done all this if I didn't have all this feedback from my 6 years at Heartland of just this pocket of.
And those
people.
are mostly people transitioning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. People that are they're having their third kid, or their business just did well and they like fancy stuff. They like.
There's a lot of people
like to ball out.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and who am I to say no to that? But I think also too we keep tapping into the out of state buyer and the out-of-state investor. There are a lot of investors that we're working with right now that, again, if we can find the properties, we probably can make a business just supplying them with the contractors.
People have been trying to do that for a long time.
I bet.
Yeah.
And it's something where these guys from New York or these guys from Chicago, they don't want to come in and manage these contractors. They want someone like us to manage them.
The problem with them, though, is they don't understand. They're cheap.
Yeah.
Cheap.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's why it's like that's not our main focus, but it is there. Yeah. It is there, but the market right now is not there. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, because the way I look at it, and shout out to all you investors, I love you guys, but you're not willing to pay us for the work that we're going to deal with. And here's the thing, if we're going to do the work and then still hear you guys bitch, we might as well go work for the homeowner and get paid more.
That's pretty much
we'll get paid our value.
Absolutely.
And that's the way that I look at it. And I started my career the same way as you did. Shout out to Pittsburgh Property Remodelers, man. Like, that was my dude. Alex was my guy, man. He started me from day one. And my friendship with Alex is so fucking deep. And everybody who started me, I'm forever indebted to them. Chris Masuga started us, lend us the money, man. That's my dog. I love that dude to death. Alex, Pittsburgh Property Remodeler, started me in the game. And Dustin Singer, worked for him too. Like, amazing human beings. But again, there becomes an aspect of it to where you're like, this is only so scalable as well too.
Right.
And there's always those pivot points, in construction, which is a very funny thing. Because when you're at the level that, when you're on ground level of construction, you can turn like a Lamborghini. Like, you can make all kinds of moves. You don't like this? Boop, go over here. Boop, let's go over here. The thing about, when you really get settled in and you start to at some point you want to start finalizing your game plan, like, it becomes harder when you get the employees and the overhead and you're making decisions based upon that and that type of stuff.
There's a lot of learning on the business end that I feel like I need before we get to that point. Yeah. And this is a setup where I'm not over-promising, under-delivering to anyone, myself, contractors, the client. Yeah. And it's a need right now. And it's one of those things where is it going to always be a need? Who knows? I just I feel that the consumer in the areas that I work in don't have options other than new construction.
Yeah, but this is how innovation goes. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I'm with you in the sense of that why I made the decision to do what I did. We ran into some people who were very, very influential in new construction in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. Mm-hmm. And when we ran into these people and we were kind of just like talking to them, they were like, listen, stay where you are. Stay where you are, stay very patient, and you will be in a pond by yourself. Because what's going to happen is all the people who come into this business that have actual real money are going to see the production side and the scalability to it, and that's too alluring for them not to say no to. Right. So what they're going to do is they're going to stop doing all the hard shit that you do, and they're going to go for the easier model and throw money at it and scale it up. And bro, companies fall off day by day by day as a private builder. Right. And that's kind of it, man. Like I told you before we came on, like the big decision for that too was like a lot of my family works for Heartland and NVR and all them. And we're a different beast. Like, I don't want to build 1,500 homes in a year in one area. We're looking to scale to 40 homes in the next 12 months. We do about 20 now.
Still a lot.
It's a lot.
Still a lot.
Yeah, scattered too, because they're all like.
Yeah, you don't do communities, right?
40. No.
Yeah, it'd be tough.
We bought one down in Washington. We did a couple in there, but all in all, we're from Bell Vernon, Claysville, Fallowfield, Peters, we're at Cecil. What do we got coming up? Yeah, we're all over the place. Yeah. So that becomes a challenge of like, but what's your avatar? Why I ask that is when most people can't tell me their client avatar, I'm like, you're not yet dissected into what you really want to do. Yeah. So my main client avatar is a person looking to retire. That's it, man. Yeah. We've built a great client avatar of people transitioning into their final home. Yep. And building single level houses, ranches that there's none in Pittsburgh. There's not enough. Yeah. But they want them built to their way. They want them built new, just like you said. We're opening them up. We're creating, ADA living, already assisted to it with 36-inch doors for someone who has medical conditions. We're doing drop-in showers for people to get wheelchairs in and out of. Yeah. It's not a 55 older community, but it's a 55 and older type house.
Right.
You know, and we get a lot of that. Predominantly, a lot of our, you know, our clientele is, like you said, they have adult money. Right. They understand money. They understand that they're willing to pay for a good product, and they want to stand behind that.
Right.
Like, they know, like, listen, I understand that all production's about their numbers and their shareholders and this and that. But when you're putting in, like, $110 windows, it's not going to last. Yeah. You know what I mean? Right. Like, you're going to have remodeling going on in 5 years.
Right.
No matter what. Whether you buy brand new or not. Yeah. You know, and that's just the way it goes. You're not, you know, you get into some of the higher end stuff like Infinities and Barringtons and even Benjamin Marcus and some of that stuff. It's a little better quality. But again, they're really looking to shave their numbers down. I mean, that's the game, is like, from a business owner standpoint, and even us, like, we've found out that, because we're now creating our master set, which is very similar to like what all the other builders do. You have 10 floor plans with 7 options, and, you know, here's all your stuff you can do, yada, yada, yada. And, you know, our full custom line will probably start at $850 and above. Mm-hmm. Because here's the thing. We found out we're the only builder in Western Pennsylvania that I at least know of, and I've looked into it a lot, that is 100% full custom for every price point. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, $1 million. Yeah. There ain't nobody doing that. No. Ain't a human being doing that. No. The amount of level and energy we put into a $400,000 house would blow somebody's mind.
I bet.
Blow somebody's mind.
Is there a number that you want to stay at, or that you target the most? I mean,
for our build prices?
Yeah.
Yeah, our average build price right now is $760. Ideal world, 6s. Yeah. Great world. Love them. Yeah. I love our clients.
And that's kind of like up north too. The one house that we renovated in Foxwood, the whole neighborhood on average sells at $550. Yeah. But the last sale was like 3 years ago. Yeah. They just don't sell. Yeah. So they're undervalued. There's so many neighborhoods that are so undervalued.
Sure. I agree with you.
And they do not require the level of renovation that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's those people that if you want to talk about an avatar, it's those people that haven't moved in a long time, that need someone more than an agent to be like, sell now and I'll help you buy as well. Yeah. Because honestly, I mean, the demographic that really values a realtor are our parents. Our age, I don't know many people our age that truly value a realtor necessarily, because they are so in tune with Zillow. Even if they're wrong, they think they know what they're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, it's so weird that a Zestimate is like taking over the world.
The Zestimates, I will say, have gotten a little bit more accurate.
No doubt.
With the data driven that it's got, but still,
because you can use AI now and pull a data entry from like what's the average home sale of the community.
Right.
You know,
it's wild.
I think, again, it's even weird, man. Like, I love agents, and I have a great relationship with a lot of them. But I had an awkward conversation even recently. Referral from another agent up north, and she's like, "Hey, I'm going to buy a house, a piece of land in a community. It's an older community. Community's about $450. I don't really want to go over that with new construction." I'm like, but you're using comps on old houses. Like, that's not the same. Yeah. Like, this house is still going to be worth $700 in this $450 community. Yeah. It's brand new.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, so if you were to renovate your $450 house to $750 or $700, you're just going to move, or you're not going to do it? I'm like, what?
Right.
It's weird conversations.
It is, but it's also something where they would never know, I guess, because they don't see buyer feedback. They don't talk to lenders that, you know, they'll tell me how many buyers are waiting at this price point. Yeah. You know, how many buyers have been pre-approved the last 2 months for the same price point.
So that's an interesting question. So why don't you, I'm interested in the answer.
Yeah.
What is the price point where the most buyers are waiting?
Where I am, same thing you said, 500, 700, 600 is choice. Yeah. And it's not really, you know.
So the 700s are holding on.
Well, 700s are hard to find where it's not
8 to 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the fine line.
That's what I'm saying. Like, those for a homeowner right now, there's not that much that keeps you from jumping up.
Well, that was the reason why I said that our custom builds are going to start at $850, because they mostly turn into $1 million.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I can only imagine that your higher end stuff, that it doesn't just go bananas once they get in and they can see their options.
Yeah.
That's
Because we do full presentation, so it's full 3Ds, full 3D outsides, and we're building the house with you. So like our CAD person is in all of our design meetings, so like he's there. We're moving shit around real time. It is, man, and again, there's an allure for some of the people who do well, and we're building for a younger couple in Bethel at like 1.3, and they're beautiful looking home, 4-sided brick. They understand what the values are. Like they know it's still going to be popular.
That one in Foxwood we ended up selling it for $830, and when we listed it, every neighbor was like, "You're insane. You're insane. The highest is $650." I'm like, well, in my world, I know of how many buyers are looking for new construction at $850, and it's Heartland, and it's again, nothing wrong with Heartland, but the problem with production across the board is the lot. They have to put a lot of homes on there. The lots are what's compromised.
Density's real deal.
So this house was on an acre of land.
You can't
backed up to the woods. You can basically you can see North Allegheny. Basically, it's right off of Wexford. Like there's no land in that area that you could ever build that house again. So it's a process of what are the choices for the buyers in this current market. Would I have done that same renovation right now? Maybe not. At that time, back in 2022. There was nothing but people waiting. We had like 80 people at that open house. We ended up selling it in 30 days, maybe 24 days. We were pushing the market for sure. But you
knew that.
Yeah, we knew that going into it, and we would have been okay with
24 days pushing the market is still unbelievable.
Yeah. For where that neighborhood sold to historically to that, it was a complete anomaly. It was a complete shot in the dark, but it was based off of some market data based on so that's what I would say is like the biggest thing I can give to clients is you can only see so much from the sidelines, but being engrossed into what this real estate market is and knowing where the buyers are, knowing where the value is, knowing what their choices are, you couldn't know all of that from Zillow. You couldn't know all of that just from being on the side. You have to be in the industry. And if you're not a realtor that can answer all those questions, how could you possibly provide the most value or just the most choices, I guess, at the end of the day?
I think value is a good word. I don't think, I think choices and value are hand in hand. I think, the more skills and the more assets you have in your repertoire and the more, assistance you can provide, that's value. I mean, and I tell people all the time, it's the same thing. Like, a buyer that can afford a $1.5 million new construction house can afford any house. They can do anything. Anything in the world.
And those buyers, I'm still learning. Like I have a really good sense of the buyers below $1 million, but I can't stress enough. There wasn't really a house above $1 million in volume just 6 years ago.
No.
And now it's again, Infinity selling at an average 1.5, 1.8. When I was at Heartland, it was $1 million, 1.2. Like
those days are over. Yeah, that's not happening.
It's over. It's over now. And it's just something where
right now, I would say in the higher price points, you have Barrington, you have Eddie, you have K Construction, Co Construction.
Because they have to be.
You got a lot of guys in the north doing over $1 million. A lot of guys.
Yeah, it's crazy.
In the north doing over $1 million.
It's crazy. So what happens to the neighborhoods that square footage wise, layout wise, can compete in that number, but they're just not brought up to today's standards? Where do they land? And what's been happening is they've been sitting just because of the cosmetic needs, because nobody can really piece those things together.
Yeah, because we kind of have that issue in Peters. Yeah. And it's not as bad, but, our thing is the same thing, right? It's, as a builder, and this is just me, how we preference it to people is like, okay, yeah, you can definitely go buy that 5,000 square foot all brick home in Peters Township for $800,000. And when you renovate it, you're going to be into it for $1.3 million, and it's still used. Don't worry. Yeah. You can come over here and build a new house for $1 million. It's 100%. All, you know what I mean? But it's all reverse engineering. It goes the same way as for me as it does for you. Is what I was getting at. Is there's a need and a want for each person. Yeah. Like there's a need and a want for a person who just needs square footage, and that's what Miranda kind of provided. Exactly. That was their gap. Yep. Is they filled the square footage gap. Exactly. And then you also have the luxury stuff that people want. Like Infinity Homes, and this is the funniest thing that anyone's ever told me, and I didn't notice it. My partner Ryan has been in building for forever. And he goes to me one day, he's like, bro, just take off those steep roof pitches of Infinity and tell me what you see. I was like, man, it's a 4-squared box. He goes, yeah, they all are. He's like, bro, new construction houses are tools to sell product. It's all they are.
Yeah.
And that's what they do a great job of. They grab you by the design aspect of when you go in that thing, every inch of it has something.
Yeah.
It's balled out, dude.
Trimmed to the max.
But again, to their effect, where'd they learn that from? NBR.
Yeah.
Scott Blodgett came from Heartland.
Oh, yeah.
You know
oh, yeah.
I mean? So, like, all those guys came from Heartland.
You can't knock what Infinity's doing because they have just done it so well.
They've done very well in a short amount of time.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're 100+ million.
But it's like you said, if you look at those houses in framing and you go try to look at a Heartland house, other than the 10-foot ceilings versus the 9-foot ceilings, it's the same house to start out with. A little more trim, a little more depth to the room sometimes. But, you know, they get good land.
It's marketing, though, right?
They do a great job with marketing. They do. And they get, you know, everybody that would come to Heartland would just be fact-checking against Infinity almost every single time. And even when we're, you know, hundreds of $1,000s apart, they would still choose Infinity. Yeah. And it was just from the perception. Heartland is a little bit outdated in the way they the way they market.
Yeah. The client avatar for Infinity is young money.
Yeah. 100%, and they're killing it. And that young money is what I mean by does it pull over into other neighborhoods, like, you know, like especially in Pine Ridge, especially in Wexford and North Allegheny, there is no land in North Allegheny.
Oh yeah.
And there is just nothing but demand in North Allegheny. So what do you do with that? You know,
what you're doing.
That's what we're thinking.
No, so, I salute you on that, man.
But it's not necessarily where we're not going to go in there and say that we can renovate everything. That's another thing too. Is like if it's out of our scope of work, I'll either find you someone that could do it, or I'll tell you that we can't, or I'll tell you what should be done. That's the biggest thing. Is
transparency.
It's trust, because I'm in this for the long haul.
Yeah.
Like, this is my career. I'm 15 years into this. Yep. You know, I was at Penn State, knocked up the old lady. This is my route. You know what I mean?
You're doing great.
I don't have the other. So this is something where it's my trust and my reputation is more important than anything. Mm-hmm. And it's going to always be in the realm of what's real, what's reality, and what is best for you as the client.
Yeah, I mean, I tell everybody this, man. If you have to stand on your values, you have to stand on your values of what you believe in regards to how you hold a standard, and how you hold a standard is how the whole company is going to hold a standard. Like, if you were a client for us, and I'm being honest, if you were an early client with us and you gave us a 5-star review, I will come back and fix your house until the day you die.
Yeah.
Forever.
Absolutely.
For free.
Absolutely.
For free.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, even again, like, you know, we had a great client, scratched their flooring, called us in, hey, can you order me a box of flooring? It's on us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Hey, so we'll get our guys in there to fix it for you.
Yeah. We went back to Lennox and Foxwood twice. I think 3 times at Lennox.
We'll
do it again.
That's the stuff that builds real brands and real businesses.
Yeah.
You know, when you get into, I always tell everybody this, you know, I will exit this game whenever HR gets involved. Like, when I'm at the point like HR has to get involved, I'm out. Like, I'm not a corporate guy.
No, me neither.
You know, what's funny is we just brought on a kid from 84 Lumber, and he's from the corporate side. They brought him from the Carolina stores, and he hated corporate. Mm-hmm. And he's like, bro, as soon as you came in the office and we see you guys had all these tattoos, he's like, I want to work for you.
Yeah.
Like, people just want to be around people. Like,
real people.
Real people.
Genuine people are hard to come by. God knows that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
If you can get that out of whatever business you're doing. I mean, I as hard as it's been the last 3 years, because everything was on me for the first 2 years of the brokerage and everything. It still kind of is, but like, everything will always be on you. Yeah. If you're a business owner, it's always on you. Yeah. But I love it just because there's nothing worse than telling a homeowner that didn't get what they were looking for, that it's out of my control. Yeah. That it's something I can't handle. It's something, you know, being able to preface things up front and own it all the way through, whether it turns out bad or good. There's no in between. No. Like, let's just be clear here. Right. Like, remodeling and new construction only go 2 ways. Right. Good or bad. 100%. There is no middle ground. Right. Like, people are going to air you the fuck out, like, no matter what. Oh, yeah. You know, we even had a guy walked in our office today, and he built a townhouse in the city. And there's only a few builders in the city, plus like a couple private guys who just talk about building houses. Right. So I figured I would know the person that he said. And I did. And the guy, and a lot of people are very upfront. They're like, listen, we're not here to talk shit. Yep.
We just know that this wasn't meant for us, and now we need to go to the suburbs. But again, when you sign up for these projects, and they're big scale projects, and you got to believe. That's why I always said to you, like, I tell all my people this, like, even my vendors, listen, I'm on for the jockey, because when something goes wrong, that dude better be standing there.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's going to be the case. I mean, it doesn't matter whether it's a $35,000 bathroom renovation, or a $10,000 roof renovation, or a $400,000 interior renovation on a multi-million-dollar home, or an $85,000 basement. Doesn't matter. Something's going to go wrong.
Yeah.
And we need to be able to fact. Somebody needs to be able to stand there whenever it's happening. And it can't just be me.
Exactly. And I think someone, to preface that up front, immediately takes like the...
Yeah, because we did a project in the north side, and when we started having issues with the roof and stuff because of the design from the architect, and we battled it in the beginning, and they told us, nope, not changing it. We stood out there with every single homeowner on the street and hashed out every single thing with them. Developer, nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
And we made zero. I mean, like negative maybe $250,000. Yeah. This was like in COVID. Still standing there, doing everything for these people that we can. You know, even though that like the design flaw was not on us, you know, whatever was happening necessarily wasn't because of us. We brought all this up in the design phase. Yeah. Again, I could have bailed. I should have bailed. Shiny penny. Yeah. When you first get started in business, it's the funniest thing, man, because everything looks great. And it even does when you're still in business. Like, then you're like, there's going to be backlash to this decision. You're like, you know, like I don't refer people to contractors really anymore. I don't do it because I know I can't control that. Like I can't control what the other person does. Right. It's not really like a thing that it's not, hey, I'm not that I don't want to put somebody out there business wise. It's just, I don't know if this guy's going to answer his phone. Then you're going to come back to me in 3 weeks and be like, hey man, Bob ain't answering his phone. What's 100%. Up with that? And I'm like, now I got to get involved.
Yep, that's
why the whole thing why I didn't want to do this.
Yeah, a lot of people they enjoy that. I say up front, I'm going to be here from beginning to end, and afterwards as well. Yeah, the guys that do the work are fantastic, but I'm going to be answering for their work as well.
So let's touch base a little bit. From your marketing side, where can anybody find your stuff? Do you guys on social media really anymore right now, or
so
we
haven't put anything out for Steeltown. I'm on Instagram with my basically just the general real estate that I do. I don't do really one thing in particular.
Do you promote all aspects of what you do on there though?
So the one thing I don't do, which I should do, is I don't post the houses that I sell. Okay, it's very self-serving, but at the same time,
I understand that.
I guess that's how people understand that you are selling houses. You know what I mean? So like a lot
brand
of
credibility.
It is. So I've got to start doing that.
Because that would be like me not putting my pictures online of a house I built.
I know. Yeah. But that's the thing. That's like it's a whole different.
I understand what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
But it's one of those things where I could go back and I could post all the houses I sold. I like to post the renovations.
Listen, I'm going to tell you my 2 cents on this. I love seeing when people are selling houses. What I don't like seeing is that you did $35 million in fucking sales that year.
Yeah.
That is some corny ass shit.
Or the awards at the end of the year.
Every fucking buddy, realtors, keep your fucking, because listen, here's what a homeowner can do. They can be like, well, like 35 million divided by like 2.5, or like.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Like that's how much money you made.
Yeah, right. I wouldn't, But I think, that's what I need to get over is it's not self-serving. It's running a bit. It's not my own post.
Yeah, that would be like big companies coming out and like saying, or private companies, me saying like, thank you to everybody. We did 27 million this year. Woo! Like that's an internal goal.
Yes.
Like that's not for the public. Right. You know what I mean? Like whatever happens, you know, and goals are goals, right? Like they're meant to be mostly made, not all the way made. Because if your goals are all the way made, they're just not big enough.
Right.
You know, so like when I say, that's why I don't put money towards values. Like when we do it in our company, it's 40 homes.
Yeah. Right. That makes sense.
If our average sale is 760, then there it is. Yeah. You know what I mean? But our average sale might go to 650. Like I don't know. Right. So I always tell everyone in business, all the other same shit. Like if you're in this for money, goodbye.
Yeah, 100%.
Because in 3-4 years, when this game gets real fucking hard, you're in trouble.
There's a lot of people chasing money, and
So what do your other 2 partners do?
They're also my one partner owns the brokerage that I work for now, Engel Volkers. He also owns AirServe, which I've been doing a couple jobs for that, kind of learn the HVAC business as well, just learning as much as I can. And then my other partner is a bigger realtor up north, and he has a lot of different investment properties too. They're just very active, basically active in real estate. All from the realtor end, really, but we all have our own contractors. We all have experience in real estate, investing.
So they're kind of like, what would you say, like on a day-to-day operational side, that like, you know, in your renovation company, these two other partners are in there?
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they're. I mean, I'm probably the most boots on the ground out of the whole group, because I have the ability to, I have the time to.
Gotcha.
But they're more involved with the planning aspects, obviously the financing end of things. They do bring a lot of the contractors in as well.
Okay.
Two of the crews are with them, or they come from their network and everything. But they bring in a lot of business partnerships.
Yeah, great.
They're
relationships, man.
They're two guys that are further down the road than I am too, which is why I partnered with them instead of staying with myself. I'm all about partnering with people who are better than me.
Yeah,
smarter than me, further along than me.
The only reason why I say this is I have two partners too, and I love both of them to death. I do. We mold really, really well because we all sit in different positions of the business, and we don't overlap. Like, I don't get in their fucking way, and they don't get in mine. Right. Like, I'm a sales, operational, financing guy. I don't go out in the field and be like, why are you building the house this way?
Yeah.
Now, I will say if I drive by somewhere, I'm like, oh, what's up with that? And every time I bring up something, they're like, dude, we're on it. Like, shut up.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm just like, listen, you guys got it. You know, and again, I credit 100% of that to the reason why we've been able to scale the way we've been able to scale. Is I can solely focus on what I'm great at and molding the people around me, and I can deal with the stuff that they don't like to do, and they do the stuff that I don't like to do. Like, I don't really deal with a lot of construction blowback. Yeah. Like, when it gets to me, like, it's fucking catastrophic. Yeah. Like, we got a real problem here. Like, real problem here. Yeah. But yeah, other than that, man, I mean, partnerships, but my point is, to feed three people that want to make decent money, you got to be doing some volume. Yep. Especially in remodeling. Yep. And that was a big factor on why we looked at the business the way we needed to look at it. I was like, okay, do I want to add another $1 million or $1.5 million to this? And I'm like, oh my God. So then it went back to the basics, right? I'm like, all right, well, I'm not really willing to put a bunch of money into marketing for this thing when that's not my long goal. Exactly. And so then we just ramped up our marketing budget for new construction. And I was like, if I'm going to put money into this is where we're going. Yeah. You know? Right. But to your point, I mean, we did, we did $1.5 million, $1.2 million for years consistently on $5,000 a year in marketing. Yeah. And it's all social media based. Yeah. After that. And the marketing we did do were yard signs, and we were big into the Google reviews. Yeah. Like, I'll pay you for them. Yeah, absolutely. They're that important, you know what I mean? That's a big part of it. I mean, we're really just kind of establishing the marketing, establishing their roles as well, because I mean, really, they're kind of the silent partners in terms of business developments, partnerships, financing. Yeah, they're behind the scenes. Right. I'm the one out there doing stuff like this, going out and meeting the clients. We all manage the contractors. I'll put it that way too. That's kind of a shared goal. But we're all kind of feeling each other out in terms of how this will work. But the biggest thing too is that this is not the only source of income. Yeah. So we're not pressed. But this is something that you're looking to actually scale. Well, this is something that makes sense to scale, that we are set up to scale. Yeah. That I think just makes sense for what is a need right now. Yeah. And being a realtor is always something that could feed into that, and it could go, there could be a lot of influx in that. But I think what's consistently needed is what we're doing right now. And I think all of our expertises over the years have kind of lent into being able to manage it. And where it can go is going to be kind of dependent on where the demand is and where it comes. Yeah, from. No, I love it, dude. I mean, it's innovation. When there's a problem in the market, somebody's got to fix it. Right. And those that rely on the same old, hunky dory shit, man, it's just not going to get you to where it needs to be. And construction's been almost like real estate, to be honest. I mean, it's pretty much stayed the same for a very, 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 very long time. Yeah. And, I love seeing, guys our age, and I love seeing the younger kids even getting involved in it. Absolutely. And, from all angles. I mean, I get a lot of people that reach out about new construction, and, the dirt work's the tough part, dude. I mean, the foundations and setting houses and footers, and that's the complicated part of construction. Yeah, other than that,
Well, that's why I reached out to you about, this in general,
Yeah.
and I know a little bit about your story. It's inspiring. I think it's something where, we are the next generation.
We are.
And who knows when that'll happen, but
Well, I take it, and you should think of it the same way, is because I'm 37, you're 36, and it's our job to inspire the kids coming up. And what I tell people is, and this is funny, is I'm big into water sports, right? So, guy on our barefoot team's an engineer. Son's going to WVU. He's going to be an engineer. So we were chirping his ass because he's 19 years old. Yeah. Slept in, missed the 7 a.m. ski time. So we started busting his balls about it. He was doing like paper, and his professor made his faces on the corner of the paper that you got to do. And I was like, "Who's that guy?" He's like, "Oh, it's my professor." And I was like, "Don't forget that I probably make more money than that guy."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. As somebody who never went to college.
Oh, yeah.
Never went to college, never did shit. And it wasn't the easiest route.
No,
it's not even close to the easiest route.
I bet.
But, I tell kids, I'm like, you are in, it's the funniest thing. I've seen a statistic that plumbers and electricians are like the new generation millionaires.
Yeah.
And that's going to be true.
Everything I've done in my life has been trial by fire and learning from mistakes.
Yeah.
But at this age, it's been an absolute blessing and benefit to do that, because that was my education.
Yeah.
My real
100%.
education was in the last, really the last 5-6 years even, but like the whole career has been, I've pulled something from everything. I've been in every seat of real estate you can imagine, other than maybe commercial sales. But like, I pulled something from everything. I wasn't always ready to do what I'm doing now, but now I feel like going through all the different things that I am. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing but things to learn still. Yeah. But I'm in a position where I can execute for clients, and it could be done.
Yeah, I mean, when I go touch base back upon money, like I'm not driven by money, period.
No, me neither. I see no value in money. I see the value of what could do.
Yeah, all the stuff that we make in our company, we put right back into it all the time. And that's what's also allowed us to scale and do the things that we want to do. Is like, if you're going to get into this and suck all the money up to go drive Lamborghinis and shit, you're in big trouble. It's a
short road. And really, in Pittsburgh, you don't need to be a millionaire to be comfortable either.
No.
You
just need to know what makes sense for you and what actual life you want to live.
Yeah. The best thing I did in the last 3 years was scale back trying to make money 7 different ways to money 3 different ways, and one being the actual way. Yeah. And the other two, are like for the future. They're what could happen, where they could go.
For.
Exactly. Yeah. But it's something where it's a journey, and it's not over yet. But it was worthwhile the way I did it.
Dude, listen, I love it, man. I love seeing when somebody sees a need in the market and a problem and they want to solve it. Yep. I love it. So before we end this, man, is there any way that I can help you? Any questions you got? Anything you want to ask me?
Yeah, I could probably think of a couple. I'll probably get back to you on it. Honestly, yeah.
That'll work.
But no, man, your journey and everything, that you're one of the templates for a lot of people, I'm sure. But just the way that you've kind of just kept it going and everything is inspiring.
So one thing that I understand is sales. Mm-hmm. So I come from a broken background, man, and. When I was 21, I went to prison and did all that shit for a while, and I did sales in the streets. And what I incorporated is all business is all the same, right? So I took everything I learned from being successful or unsuccessful in the streets, and I applied it to real estate. Mm-hmm. So when I got into this game, I said, okay, well, how did I get myself to be successful in the streets? I gave away my product for free. So I gave away my renovations at cost for a long time, probably the first year. Didn't make shit. Yep. Just enough. And then we started building the clientele, getting tasters out there, getting testers. Then I started understanding. Then I made sure that my product was fire. So then my product was Blue Magic. So now my product's a brand. Mm-hmm. So now when my product's a brand, I got to focus on keeping myself out of Dodge. So what I mean is like chasing shiny pennies, keeping this and that, always putting back into your people. Like, it's all the same premises. Yeah. Like, yeah. My biggest thing that I hate in business is that people will be like, oh, you can't relate to me. You ain't going through what I'm going through. Hold on. No. I am. I will help you with anything that you're going in wrong in your business. Like, now, we got an open line. Like, tap in. Yeah, like, anytime you got a question, tap in.
Absolutely. Where are you going from here? What's your next step?
Oh, man. Full takeover. So I play the game super competitive. And so my biggest person that I look up to in my life, God rest his soul, is Kobe Bryant. And I missed the Jordan era as a kid, right? So, like, I didn't get to see it all. I've seen some of it, but I really see it. I was born in 86.
Yeah,
he was balling in 86.
Yeah.
I grew up in the Kobe era.
Right, me too.
So, for me, Kobe is everything that and I like the 8 to the 24. So, like, right now, I still consider myself the 8. Like, nobody in the league really likes him. He's kind of a ball hog, but he's playing for talent. But he's building a team. So now I'm going to be in my transition to 24 is like, I know that I got to play empathy with my team in the office. Like, I got to be, I got to help everybody inside my office get to their dreams. And it's not about me. It's not about this. It's transitioning into that leader, that father, that person. But I also have a kill list, which Kobe had when he was unranked, and it was everybody above him that he's going to get to. So for me, I look at and it's all in fun, but it's just called the kill list, right? So, like, I got my people on there that I want to chase, that I'm coming after you, and this is what we're going to do, man. Like, I'm playing for keeps. Like, I play the game for real. Like, it's a little bit of a give and take because, like, I don't love it all the time because I'm, like, when that buzzer goes off and I drop my kids off at school at 8:15, the fucking shit is stock market, bro. Like, I am playing super serious, and I am playing that serious until the bell is over when we're done at the end of the day. If you want to be my friend, then be my friend at 7. Because during the day, we're not. We have a purpose here, Like, and I told everybody in our office, like, all of you are going to make good 6 figures, and I promise you that. There is not one thing that I've ever promised this team and this company that we've never delivered upon. So for me, I think we're going to be able to push the boundaries on what kind of product we're putting out and how much. But what I'm secondarily going to do is I want to provide the opportunity to change everybody's life along the way.
Yep.
And that means to me more than changing mine. Because I understand, because of my river house and my other things, like, I'm living my dream. Like, and people don't even understand that. And so many people in the real estate game and the construction game, they'll make this money and they don't know what to fucking do with it. But they don't understand. I put this post out the other day, and it was from Alex Hormozy. I don't know if you follow any of Alex's stuff. Fucking beast.
Yeah.
From sales perspective, Alex Hormozy is probably the best influencer out there right now. His wife is amazing as far as, like, culture building and the other shit. Yeah. Check them out.
I will.
It's great shit.
Yeah.
So he was on a podcast recently and said, you had told me once, the guy interviewing him said, this is a quote that he heard. Remember years ago, you told me if you achieved this, you'd be happy.
Yeah.
I think everybody forgets that.
Absolutely.
Because 5 years ago, I would have never fathomed I would have had a river house.
Yeah. All right. Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I stop. And I don't really stop a lot in business and take and understand what we're doing because I don't really celebrate a lot of the wins.
Yeah.
But when we bought our new office on 19, I had to stop for a second and was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
This is wild.
Yeah. So what was, like, the biggest change you've made recently?
Remodeling.
Just kicking the remodeling out.
Yeah, but it was such a hard decision.
I bet.
And we kicked it around for years and never would land on it. We got killed during COVID. Like, probably lost close to $1 million. And we executed all 17 contracts during COVID and didn't ask anyone.
Was it just for the increase in the materials and everything?
Yeah. So again, it was again, I didn't want to tarnish my brand.
Yeah.
So we sat down as a team and we're like, okay, here's the thing. We can go back to everybody and we can start gouging.
Yeah.
Or do we want to try and just be the difference?
Yeah.
And get through this year and understand that we're probably going to maybe go bankrupt. And there was a couple times, man, where we had like $300,000 in bills and no money coming in. And it all comes back to doing the right thing, because there was this client, man, that got introduced to me, and I love her to death, dude. She's our guardian angel. And she dropped in one day. We were about 200 and we got down to about $200,000 in bills, and I had no idea how to pay them. Bro, I was on my way home from work crying. Yeah. Like, I let everybody down. I mean, I'm going to have to tell everyone, like, I have no idea how we're going to continue. How is this going to happen with our clients? Like, we have executed, like, we have legal obligations. Like, this is a massive problem. Yeah. I got this person from a vendor that I had from a very long time. Again, consistency. I stay with my people for a long time. My loyalty is super deep. He referred me to this woman who was looking for appliances. I went out to her house. She had a contractor, did exterior work that screwed her. Guy in the industry. We probably all know him. Definitely not going to throw his name out. I referred her to a buddy of mine who helped her out with her exterior project. She then gave me a $175,000 kitchen project.
Yep.
The real kicker is at this point, again, we all did good business. And she's like a consultant for Fortune 500 businesses that like says to hire and fire.
Yeah.
You need to hire and fire that guy. We built her a pool house. And it was a tax write-off for her. She put her office in it and everything and yada, yada. Bro, I had no way to pay this money. None. I mean, zero, dude. I would have never caught up to this money. She wrote me, she emailed me the next morning after we talked, and she said, hey, how much can I have off if I write you a check for $200,000 tomorrow? I took her profits up front, dude, and paid all that debt off, and that's what saved us.
Yeah.
All from doing the right thing.
Now, do you have a hard time keeping that mentality that you just talked about during those times?
No.
That's the difference, probably, man.
Never.
Yeah.
No. I'm not, no.
Because honestly, everything we just talked about, I'm in those times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the last 2 years were tough.
Yeah.
Business-wise, this last year was very tough personally. And, at the end of the day, you can't stop. I got 2 kids. You know, you got to keep it going.
Yeah.
But that mentality, I mean, I believe in what you're saying.
No,
100%.
It's real.
I've always had that, and then this year is last 2 years.
The biggest thing that I think that helped me early on, and even still in my career, is people know when I put my name on it, we're fucking doing it.
That's important
to the end.
Yeah. That's what
to the end.
That's my whole.
And
goal
I'll never complain to you in the end that I lost money.
Yeah,
dude, there was houses in COVID that I was building that we were losing $75,000, and you would never know it.
Do you feel like you've got that paid back by now, or you think that's
100%.
still? Yeah, well. Yeah, man.
So what's crazy is it's all wild how this shit comes full circle.
Yeah.
So who beat our ass the most during COVID? 84 Lumber. Beat the living dog shit out of us. Yeah. Beat the living shit out of everybody.
I bet.
What's funny is we come out of COVID and we built a house for the executive assistant of Maggie Hardy. And it was in a community that we bought. And we got to work with 84 Lumber, hand in hand, and work with some of the high ups in this. And we solidified our great bond. Like $1.4 million house, shit went amazing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's probably one of the most beautiful houses we've ever done. But I got my money back.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Right.
But they never gave us an issue too. Like whenever we asked for something, they gave it. You know, so they reciprocated it back, and it was like, oh well, could have went and tried to dump vendors. You know what I mean. And like it's the loyalty to the game.
There's not many people that do it either.
No, everybody's willing to jump ship for $20.
Yep.
And that's craziness. Even our hires now. Like we just brought on a project manager and a salesperson. Our salesperson starts Wednesday, and project manager started on Monday. He was from 84 Lumber. I hire strictly for culture right now.
Yep.
I will not, I turned down a lot of people that came from the big builders and would have been maybe a good fit. But I learned this from a guy who came over in remodeling. He was an older gentleman. He was so far skilled, better than everybody else, but he brought the most fucking problems.
Yeah, sure. A lot of those talented guys would, I'm sure, yeah.
You can't have that.
No.
I'd rather train you. If you want to go on your own, whatever.
Yeah.
Just you understand when you train with me, you're going to understand that you're going to see every aspect of what goes on in our business, the good, bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
Because I'm in the fucking trenches with my people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it's hard to be a team when you got a narcissist on the team. If you got somebody that's single-minded, you got to have all team players on a team.
What's so crazy is our Thursday meetings are run almost like EOS, and they're like a level 10 meeting, but we only really do the IDS, which is identify, discuss, and solve. So, and then I go in a sauna and I sign the tasks out to everybody. But it's everybody's views.
Yeah.
Like, how do I know what's going on in your department when I don't do it?
Yeah.
I want you to openly discuss your department. I want you to talk about the problems that are going on in your department, whether it's management or it's not.
Yeah.
I'm responsible for it all inside that office.
Right.
So, I want to know the problems.
Right.
And because, I look at everybody in a business, the difference between me and a lot of people is I'm a true fucking operator, dude. I am an operator. I will get this shit done on all levels.
Oh, yeah.
And, I don't care about the number. I don't care. None of that scares me. People get weird about big numbers. People get weird about commitments to big jobs, bro. It is what it is.
Yeah.
You either going to see it through to the end or you're not.
Yeah. Well, where'd you get this education from? Everything you're saying is someone that you would think went to school for this, went and got a major, and but how did you get to this level of understanding of business and the needs that you have?
2017, I fell into the deepest depression of my life. I've always seen high wins and big losses. When you play the streets, it's the same as construction. And that's what I loved. It's big risk, high reward, and big losses. But that appeals to me. I love that feeling. I became and understood that if I'm going to make a difference, I need to make a difference and own every mistake that comes my way. Accountability is something that I stand on so fucking hard. 10 toes down on accountability, man. I will always say it's my fault. Everything's my fault. I understand that in the business. Everything's my fault. Whatever happens that goes wrong, it's not the office admin's fault. It's my fault. Yep. Because I didn't put the processes in place to train you well enough to get to that point. And getting people to buy in, and I shouldn't say buy in, but believe in the culture that we have, is understanding that when you care about the other people more than you care about yourself, you're always going to win.
Yeah.
Always. There's a lot of people out there that have never tried or even experienced their dreams.
Oh, yeah.
Why would I not want to get you there? Yeah. And I look at the guys that I look up to. Again, Kobe. I'm big into Gary Vaynerchuk early on. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of, I facet myself in a lot of different things, and I look up to the people that I admire. Yeah. And I have a circle, so a few circles. So there's a level of people that when I need something for my personal life and I want to know how it's going to work out, I call every single one of them people because I value your opinion, because I need an outsider looking in. Business coaching, 100%. We spend $60,000 a year on business coaching, for sure. Yeah. Because I need an outsider always looking at me to tell me, bro, whoa, you're doing wild shit right now. Yeah. And I'm always open to somebody telling me I should be doing something a little bit different of a way. I don't have the best ideas, and you need to be open to that. You're meant to hire in your business to people that are better than you. So why would you not listen to their opinion? Right. Everybody in my business, in our business, I feel is better than me. And I'm so in tune with my character defects that I knew that our first hire had to be an office manager because I suck at details. I move at 10,000 miles an hour, and I'm going to drop a lot of shit.
I can't wait to hire someone like that.
You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. And then it was then it was selections, and then it was, administration, and that was all kind of a combined thing in the beginning, and we've just morphed off of that. Yeah. But I have a construction employee that's been with us since the very first job we've ever done. Yeah. Never leave.
Yeah. No, loyalty is huge. Loyalty is humongous.
Yeah.
How else can you grow? How else can you be a team?
Yeah, the field's tough, man. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're gonna have some turnover out there,
for sure.
And that's just the thing of it. That's the game that's played, and that's why I would tell you, as you grow, hire for talent. Don't be afraid to pay, but make sure that they're trainable to what you're doing. Because the last thing you want is for somebody to come in and say, "Well, at Heartland, I did this." Right. Well, this isn't fucking Heartland. Right. This is Hemlock Homes. Right. We do it this way. Right. And that's the kind of stuff that And I'll be honest, I don't watch any TV. I watch none, zero. I am all about, now I'm in the phase of my life where I need to be the leader. So it's understanding that I suck at empathy. It's understanding that there's emotions that I don't carry inside of me that I need to work on, because that's going to take me to the next level. That's going to take the team to the next level. And I'm willing to work on that every single day of my life. Now I fail constantly. I'm not even going to remotely admit that I am great at any of that shit. But I know that if we're going to get to the place that I want to be, with everybody enjoying their lives the way I envision it, yeah, I got to be on fucking point. And it's got to start there. But again, I mean, I'm willing to work on that every single day of my life. Like I'm so regimented that I take things away from myself. Like I love music. Like I love hip hop. I love almost all music. 90s country and hip hop. It's weird. It's two very different things, but that's my jam. Like that's my fucking jam. 90s country because my dad raised me on it, and I love everything about my father. That's awesome. And it's the best era of country music. And two, I love hip hop from all eras. Yeah. I'm getting a little out of the new shit just because I'm old, but again, I will not listen to music until I feel like I've earned the day. Like in the morning, it's either I'm listening to some sort of leadership stuff or a podcast. During the day, I'm listening to only, whether it's Eric Thomas for inspirational things or whatever it is. I need some drive to get me through, because if I go in there listening to like either twang or some drug music or this or that, that's how my brain's going to start to flow. So like I get on the first thing in the morning and I'm like, all right, I'm going to get on some real good. When I go to the gym in the morning, I drive there in silence. That's my time to think. Yeah. I have 30 minutes each way to think about my next moves. And I don't break that. So then I do a gratitude exercise when I get up. I learned that from Ed Milet. Again, another person I really look up to, who, first thing you want to do when you wake up, you want to look at your phone, right? There's nothing but problems on there. You need to wake up and take 5 minutes and be super grateful that you woke up and be super grateful for the things that you already have. Take 15, 20 minutes without your phone. Problems are going to be there in 15, 20 minutes, I assure you. But it stops you from having a different mindset. So those are just some of the things that, and I'm super calendar oriented. Like right. I have noon, text my wife, because if I don't have that, I'm not texting her. I won't even think about her. Wow. Like when I play the game, I'm playing the fucking game.
No, I think it's smart.
Yeah. So like at noon, text my wife, hey babe, how you doing? Oh, good. And I don't do it every day. I'll forget some days, but like it's there, Showers in there, everything in there, gym in there, meetings in there, lunch in there. I don't do lunch, but like I intermittent fast, and I don't eat from like dinner the day before till dinner the next night.
So just extreme discipline.
Extreme discipline. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, and I read a lot. I'm always working on like what I feel I need to change myself. Because again, like if you're not putting out, like when you're the leader, you got to be the leader. If you're a robbing ass leader, like everyone else gonna rob an ass dude. You know what I mean? Big Meech said that. Like that's just like, again, you know what I mean? Like that's true though.
Yeah, 100%.
So I look at it from like, because I've been in a lot of businesses where like people were like, they would promise people stuff in their business and that would never come to fruition. It disgusts me. Yeah. Don't say it.
Absolutely.
So for me, it's just extreme discipline, and I'm very regimented on working with myself at all times. Like I said, I can't even tell you the last time I actually watched real TV.
Yeah.
Actually, this weekend, I went down to Atlanta for some friends, visited some friends of a mastermind I met at cross country, and they had the Georgia Bulldogs game on. Yeah. So it was probably first time, long time, man. I don't really watch a lot of that stuff, but winter I'm into Supercross, so I do watch that.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, man, I work on myself day after day after day after day after day, and I've done this consistently since 2017, and I spent a lot of money on personal development, and I worked on a lot of my internal demons. I made amends with a lot of people. I've gotten rid of a lot of the shit in my past because I never think about it anymore. Now when you have that, like, I look at your past as debt. Like, unless it's paid off, it's a different mindset, right? Like, if you have a company that has $1 million in debt, you're running it differently, right? But if you have a company that has no debt, now you're playing the game. So I went back and erased all my garbage and made amends with everybody that I didn't have to worry about it anymore. Yeah. And now I focus on the future.
That's amazing. Yeah, I think we met probably in like 2015.
2014.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I looked it up.
So I mean, that's a
10 years.
Complete turnaround, man. That's fantastic.
That's why I asked you the question in the beginning was like, would you have gotten into this if you would have not signed up for that mastermind?
I think not to this level, but every part of the journey was necessary. That Fortune Builders class was a lot of things that I think I realized I didn't need. Yeah. A lot of things that were good. Yeah. But I think that really showed me that you can go to as many classes as you want. You can go to as many different courses as you want. It doesn't matter until you apply it yourself, until you really figure it out for yourself. No one's going to give you the blueprint of what you have to do. Even if you can't pay to learn. You know, can't pay to learn real estate. You have to get into it.
You can pay to learn the tools.
Yeah.
You can't pay to to learn the experience by doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You're gonna lose money, man. It's the way it goes.
Yeah.
Like I tell everybody that.
No,
like if I probably have more losses than wins. You know, I tell everybody, like, in the game can change in 1 year, and it's usually when you quit. So, like, year 1, we didn't make shit. Year 2, we didn't make shit. Year 3, we didn't make shit. Year 4, we didn't make shit. Year 5, we made some money. And year 6, we're making some money.
Sounds right.
That's the game.
Yep. Yeah.
I appreciate it, man. I really do. I'm glad you came on. I'm glad you messaged me.
Absolutely.
It's been a great interview.
I appreciate it.
So, again, tell everyone your company name and how we can find you.
Stilltown Home Improvement, and I'll put an Instagram out eventually, I hope. But
I keep
now,
poking at it just so you do it.
now I have to.
I just keep poking at it.
Now I have to do it. But
and I wanted you to say that too, because now I'm gonna hold you accountable to it.
And now I'm gonna do it. My personal Instagram is just Jon Masuga, JonMasuga. But yeah, I'll have a new one up soon, man. Yeah, dude, I appreciate it, man.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right, man. Thanks, everyone. Hope you enjoy.